that electric vehicle idea is something in particular that I want to talk to you about. But Rajavardhan ji, if I could just turn to you for your, for a quick comment. Um, I was just talking to Dushyant ji about the fact that infrastructure is important, and for industry, it's good if you're close to Delhi. But one of the things that the pandemic has done is that you could actually be in a very remote place so long as you've got decent quality internet and you can still work, like where you are right now. I believe you're in a by-election and you are out in a very remote place, but it's fine. We can see you, we can talk to you. We can get work done. So, is that something that you're keeping in mind, that if you want to really spread the service industry all across Madhya Pradesh, that now becomes possible thanks to new technologies and work from home?
Yeah, Vikram correctly said. So first of all, I would like to greet all my minister colleagues and all of the eminent panelists. A very good afternoon to all of you. Very interesting. I think Haryana is doing great work, and so is Assam. But like you were saying, Madhya Pradesh, especially after the GST implementation, see, we have this what used to be called our disadvantage of being a landlocked state. Actually, is also an advantage. Like Piyush Pandeyji's very inspiring ad campaign, if all of you saw it, Hindustan Ka Dil Dekho, wonderful job he did with it. See, we are actually covering about 50% of the country's market, including our state and the border that we have. Also, within 24 hours, you can reach anywhere in the country from Madhya Pradesh. And if you look at the statistics from last year to this year, we've done phenomenal growth in spite of the pandemic. We've about have a growth of 67% of investment, where we've come to about 11,000 crore from 6,600. We've got about additional employment of growth of about 40%, where we're giving about 22,000 employment this year compared to about 15,000 last year. Similarly, in the land allotments, we have about a 50% increase here as well. And not only all this, we also have the distinction of having a zero day manpower loss within the industry. And I also like to, at this point, thank all the industry colleagues who have actually given us CSR and who gave us industrial oxygen to be used as medical oxygen. Um, if you look at Madhya Pradesh, are also a pharmaceutical hub. API is also coming up here in a great way. Generic medicines, if you look around Indore and the Pithampur area, is doing extremely well. Fertilizers, we have an advantage of having tremendously a huge land bank. We are also a very peaceful state by and large, where we have not only cheap manpower, we have skilled manpower. We also have a distinction of Indore being not only the cleanest city, it's also the only city which has IIT and IIM all together in one place. We have this very interesting Devas Industrial Corridor that we're building up. We have a lot of work going on in the Ratlam region. And see, Gadkari ji was here very recently, and he gave us nearly about 250 lakh crores, about a lakh crore that he was doing the complete Lokarpan for, and the additional with the multi-modal logistic park coming up here with the national corridor crossing of which is going to be a 12 lane. Interestingly, we are also working on newer schemes like what we call Navachar in Hindi. For the first time in the country, we've done a land pooling with the collaboration of the farmers, whereby we have given them a double of the circle rates and part of it about 10% in cash. And the rest, as we develop that land, we give them a share of the rest of the money. We give them those developed plots. So they are happy as well. So that's actually working out in reality the Atmanirbhar Bharat and the Swavalamban story. Yes, like Dushyant was saying, that I agree, Haryana has this advantage of being right next to Delhi and all that, and people prefer being in the NCR, and Maruti was there a long time back. But we are also working towards the automobile sector. For example, look at Eicher. Eicher is practically entirely here in Madhya Pradesh. We shifted a lot of their operations from Maharashtra. Part being the labor issue. Pagroda, if you come near Bhopal, it's an absolutely state-of-the-art, world-class plant that they've just inaugurated, and they're doing a great job there as well. Now, Assam, obviously, the bamboo and all that was mentioned. But before I come to that, I would also like to tell you what reforms we made in terms of ease of doing business. We're at number 4 now. and we definitely are going to be in the top three in the year to come. We've done away with about 1,896 unnecessary little hindrances. We've done away with those procedures of clearances, and we moved that out. We have a GIS-based system here where you can go online and actually look at the lands that you probably would want to select for investment. And MPIDC is working overtime. We've also done newer sort of experiments here. One of the problems in the industry would be that the power is at a very, very high rate, and they would always want it at a cheaper rate. So we've actually, for the first time, gone and given the license for distribution to MPIDC. Mohasa Babai is an example I would like to quote to all of you, where we've just got the order from or the go-ahead from the central government for the medical equipment park there. That's going to be coming there. Then other interesting part is people earlier on would think that most of the textile and garments was in the south. CM made a lot of effort, and Thrissur has moved up here. We have textile and garments in a major way are moving towards Madhya Pradesh. We are the top 5 cotton growing states. Also, probably we are probably the number one in organic cotton here. And you would see we have companies like Gokul Das, the Best Corporation, Urban Mills, Pratibha Syntex. You have all these companies here. So it's a major change, and also because this particular segment that I'm talking about gives about 90% employment to women. See, that's another area that we're majorly looking at. Our achievements has always been having pro-women scheme, be it Ladli, Lakshmi, or all that. So this comes in with it. And like Dushyant was saying, ethanol is another area that we are looking at. My colleague from Assam mentioned it. We just had about 5% blend of bio and fossil fuels, and our government is targeting about 20% in the next couple of years to come. So we've just recently launched a new ethanol policy, and we're expecting a good sort of interest there. Then, yeah, Narmada Expressway. Here we are linking, this in 34 districts crossing, boom. Then Chambal, which was earlier on, you would know it for dacoits, Mansingh, or all that. And today we have Atal Pragati Path there. So this is going right across. We are developing about 20 new industrial areas at the key junctions. We're having these industrial nodes coming up there. We are looking at air cargo facilities for farm fresh products to be taken anywhere globally. And so I think overall, we are really working on all these EV policy. Yes, we're working on the EV policy, automation, hydrogen cells is another future energy source that we will have here. In terms of export, we've just launched Export Promotion Council here. We were about 2.5 of the national average. We're looking at going up to about 5% in the years to come. So a lot of things happening, and I would like to say that in terms of natural resources, we are already very rich resource-wise. The eastern part of Madhya Pradesh has lime, we've got granite, we've got blue dust, we've got manganese. So we're looking at Balaghat, which was known for Naxal activities. We are having a ferro oil park happen there. It's also called the Dhan Ka Katora, which is so ethanol has prospects there. We have Maharashtra link there. We're building up the Nagpur connectivity expressway. So a lot of things are happening here, and I would really want all of you to look at our policies. We really work on all of them.
Right. So that's a really interesting exposition from all three of you as to some of what is happening in each of your individual states. If I could now just turn to some broad themes and maybe get each of you to just weigh in on them very quickly. Number one, the question, and maybe I can go in reverse direction. So first of all, the question of the pandemic. We've had 18 months many months of disruption, then bounce back, second wave again. Now there seems to be some recovery. In your individual states, are you now finding that the recovery is taking place? Is the pandemic behind us? And how confident are you that you've reached the level we've been celebrating 100 crore doses of vaccination? How confident are you that there's not going to be another surge or another wave at some point? So very quickly, I'm going to get comments from all of you. Rajyavardhan, your quick take on that from Madhya Pradesh.
I think very confident, Vikram. I'll tell you, we've gone right down to the village level. Also would like to add that we probably are the first state that had crisis management groups that were not only made at Bhopal, they were made at the districts. They went down right up to wards of the municipal corporations and panchayat level in the villages.
And
And
you're
we had like,
satisfied with the rate at which vaccinations are going?
and all these guys have come together. It's like Jan Bhagidari all over. The awareness is great. Initially, there was a scare that there were a lot of these propagandas of what might happen. But now they've all, especially when the 18 age group started, the youngsters really came in and they supported us very well. So I think we are confident, yeah.
Dushyantji, how confident are you that the pandemic is now something behind us and it's not going to come back again November, December?
Vikramji, you can't predict it is behind us or it is in the future with a bigger wave. But I can say the way India has got vaccinated, and yesterday 100,000 crore vaccination jabs were done across the country. I think we have taken care of that big population, which was a challenge for the country. And I think every state has done a great job. There's not been a single UT or state which has not administered the program in a very professional way. And I see that when it comes to moving forward, I can talk about Haryana. In the first wave, also, we were the first one to open the industry and then easily moving forward. But we had a disadvantage of having Delhi next to us, which was hugely populated. And suddenly the surge and the second wave came up. And the oxygen crisis also, when we faced in the state, was more or less supporting oxygen to Delhi. But we held together. We were in close both the states and the center. I think we got along very well. And for the third wave also, we've been prepared. We have hospitals being put up, temporary hospitals being put up, and they're still active. If we require, we have the infrastructure. But yes, the coordination from the village level, as Rajavardhanji said, it was done by every state, and that's why India succeeded. You see UK's economy today, you see US's economy today. Every country had to give out funds to the businesses to be started or to be sustained. But we, being an economy which was very active during this part, also we survived, and it has been the history of our country also that we and we overcome such issues. And we are ready as a state also, and I think we will move forward. And I will just request one more thing, as Patwari ji and Rajavardhan ji, both of them are in between a by-election. I'm also in Sirsa today, in between a by-election. I have a meeting at 2 o'clock, so I would like to excuse myself from this meeting also, if you permit.
Right. Then maybe I'll get one more very quick question from you. You're speaking a lot about the new investors and what you're doing to attract them. What about your existing investors who've been there for a while? Are you telling them that you will continue to look after their interests to make sure that ease of business is going to become a mission for you?
Vikramji, Haryana was the first state to implement ease of doing business in the state, and that's why in the past 2 years, since I have been in the government, I have seen investment coming out. There's been not even one major company who's even moved their headquarters from Gurgaon to Delhi. But we have the top 500 companies from the world who have their headquarters now built up in Gurgaon. And we see more companies coming in. The biggest advantage we see is we have got our first e-bus manufacturing company now, taking 200 acres of land in Palwal. And now they're going to start off their bus manufacturing here and also support the state. That is one thing that we look forward. We are open for investment. We have various ideas. We have advantages of having a petroleum refinery in Panipat. So plastic products and all such kind of products which are related to. We have 4 or 5 thermal powers where cement factories have been built up. But yes, now alternative investment needs to come in from the globe, which are in the aviation sector. That's where we are putting our thrust on the Hisar airport, which is going to be one of the biggest advantage, right, being next to Delhi. And if we can make it a cargo base for Delhi also, driving 200 kilometers or putting up a express train which has been approved from NCRPV, which is going to be speeded up to 180 kilometers from IGI airport to Hisar Airport, which is going to take 1.5 hours to reach. I think this is one advantage. I recently spoke to Jyotiraditya Scindia that give us one heliport. So he has agreed for that. We are going to give them 25 acres of land, and from heliport we are going to expand it bigger to a heli hub. So Gurgaon can be the center, and we can have helicopter facilities going from Gurgaon to Bhiwadi, Gurgaon to Alwar, Gurgaon to Greater Noida, Gurgaon to Ghaziabad, Gurgaon to Sonipat. And the reach from that heliport is only 13 kilometers from IGI. So IGI, somebody gets off, drives 13 minutes, and then fly anywhere. And these are the things we need to work for the future. The time has the value. Money is not going to have the value in the future. People are running short of time. And I think with that target, Haryana is working on today.
All right, Dushyantji, if you have to leave us, and that's fine. I know you have a public meeting in 5 minutes which you have to address, so we'll allow you to go. Chandramohanji, just want to come to you. If you're Chandramohanji is still there, yeah. Just want to come to you on that question of the pandemic and the recovery and the extent to which it is happening in Assam. Chandramohanji, are you still there? No, I think maybe the line's gone. We'll try and get him back. Rajyavardhanji, so let me turn to you next then. On this entire question of the recovery and what is happening with the recovery, to what extent is it something that you think the states can take into their own hands? And the question of the pandemic, which I've just been asking, you said you're fairly confident that it's not going to come back, and then you've taken a lot of the precautions. But are there any different thought processes that you're following in light of everything that has happened in the last 18 months?
In totality, you cannot really reject that it cannot ever come back, because it mutates. There are different variants that have been coming up. So that's one apprehension which is always going to be there in back of our minds. But I think the most important point here, I feel, is that we need to actually get used to the COVID appropriate behavior. So the people need to actually understand that the post-COVID world has changed forever. They need to make it a habit. Or they have to use masks, they have to use masks. They have to be using sanitizers, washing their hands, being careful about the crowds. Those, I think, will have to be taken care of. As far as the vaccination and the precautions are being concerned, yes, the government is doing more than that we can do. Modi ji has given us that free vaccination thing. We here at the ground level are trying to put those vaccinations across. Now there are vaccinations coming for children as well. But yes, day-to-day activities and lifestyle has to be very, very, very COVID appropriate. And I think the youngsters have made the difference. A lot of NGOs have done brilliant work. A lot of CSR has gone into it. What we need to be careful about is the points where there are huge gatherings, or which are the transit points for large number of people. Those have to be really be vetted and sanitized, and we have to be careful about that. And also this testing has to go on. You see, we have to keep having random testing at various points where we fear that it could come up again. So at the very outset, just when you have initial cases coming up, we must immediately move on into action and take care that we need to nip it in the bud. I think that's going to be very important.
All right. I want to now come to one of the things that you said about ease of doing business, and the question of whose onus is it increasingly becoming now to drive the economy. Quite often when the economy is being driven, it is seen as India's growing at this rate, India's growing at that rate. That's correct. And the central government obviously has a major role to play. But given that the central government has taken whatever steps it had to take, we've got things like GST and all out of the way, many reforms out of the way. Do you see the basic engine of the Indian economy now becoming the states, and a good competition between states to say we are going to take on the onus of driving the economic engine, and perhaps even competing with each other in a good manner, so that we try and have better policies in other states so that we become the engine of growth?
Yes, see, I mean, a macro policy can be made by the government of India, right? For example, ethanol. So the government of India has come up with the ethanol policy, but the states individually, be it Bihar, be it Assam, be it Madhya Pradesh, or the other states, we are vying with each other that we want to get that here. So we have our individual policies as well. So that's what you were trying to say, that how are the states doing? But here, there could be some sort of synergy. For example, the PSUs. If the PSUs start floating tenders on their own, without keeping our policies in mind, then how do we compete? What happens to smaller investor? Smaller investors who's investing in ethanol, or if you're looking at 100 KL kind of a capacity plant, below that is anyways not feasible. So there are these little things that we will the central government will have to actually sit and referee and make sure that there's a even playing ground. If Bharat Petroleum decides to do it on their own, then what are we going to do? So these are some of the areas. Yes, the states have to be the driving force, because it has to come from the micro. Like the one district, one product is a brilliant scheme that the Prime Minister has come by. Every district now we've identified, we've taken out what they were doing. For example, Madhya Pradesh has been for years and years, we are the home for Chanderi, we are the home for Maheshwar, we are the home for Bagh Prints. We just need to market it properly. So we need to value add on what we have. We will generate not only employment there, we will definitely increase the money that we can get in.
I think one of the points that I was trying to ask was that when you meet other, ministers from other states, is there today, because it's a good thing if this happens, is there this virtuous cycle that states are now saying, we would like to have the best policies, we would like to have better policies than our neighbors, more investor friendly, more industry friendly, more economy friendly policies than everyone else? Because if that competition starts, it could really transform India very fast.
I think Vikram, it's already started. The thing is, some states have we have the advantage of being in the center of the country, so we can be warehousing logistics up naturally.
Yeah.
Haryana, we cannot compete in certain ways with Haryana. Haryana has got Maruti. We wanted that extension that Maruti is doing and investing a lot of money. Now, obviously, Haryana had the advantage. Gurgaon, now we don't have a Gurgaon, or we have Indore. So Assam has its own geographical and the advantage of the natural resources it has, refinery it has. So every state has its own distinctive advantage, its own strength. So I think basically to start with, we build up on our strengths that we have. We value add on our resources that we have. And then additionally, the policies, we try and look at the policies of the other states, see what we can give, because ultimately it comes back to the finance ministry. I could want to put 100 better things in my policy than Haryana. But if my chief secretary and my principal secretary, finance and finance minister says, "Oh, well, you put in so much money in COVID, or this or that," so it's a lot depends on how the state is doing financially. We're doing good so far. I think if I look at, I'm not patting my own back, but if I compare it with what was there last year and where we are today, and we are headed, I think Madhya Pradesh is doing reasonably well. And yes, the policies do make a difference. Ultimately, see, no one this list is going to come to your state doing you a favor. He'll come where he sees a benefit, where he sees the gain, where he sees prosperity, where he sees the conducive ecosystem.
All right, Rajyavardhan Singh ji, thank you so much. Chandramohan Patwari, I don't think he's still there. That line has snapped. So it's 2 o'clock, so we're going to end it here. Ravi, I'm going to come across to you for closing remarks, and I think next session I believe starts.
Thank you.
Break. Yeah. Ravi.
Thank you, Vikram. Chandramohan Patwari ji, Dushyant Singh ji, Rajyavardhan ji, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasant duty to propose the vote of thanks at this very important session on the state of the Indian states. I guess the last 1 hour has been fascinating as always, moderated brilliantly by Vikram. By the way, Vikram, wanted to let you know that Editor G is my only source of all my news. After a lot of deliberation, PAFI chose the 4 states for this year, and we all know now the reason. There could not have been better advocates of how the states have been performing than the ministers present today. It was heartening to hear that the COVID situation in the 3 states are looking much better. We acknowledge all the 3 states who gave unstinted support during this pandemic, and PAFI would like to commend the entire state government machinery in all the states, especially in the states of Assam, Haryana, and Madhya Pradesh for their diligent efforts. We heard the various initiatives being undertaken, and all of the policies outlined by all the three states are, I guess, attempts to be future ready. PAFI is committed to extend their continued support to bring back the livelihoods in the rural areas, and we look forward to your advice, support, and guidance in executing new initiatives that would benefit your state. We in PAFI look forward to continued engagement and grateful to all the ministers for having spared their valuable time in spite of their busy schedules. Thank you once again, and I request all of you to continue to be online as we have many more interesting sessions coming up. The next session will begin at 2:20. Over to you, Ajay.
And back to Vikram. I see that Minister Chandramohan is back. Want to ask him for any concluding remarks?
Yeah, maybe we could ask him. Chandramohan ji, thank you. We were trying to get a concluding remark from you earlier. Just your final sense, very quickly, on pandemic is now passed. How are you seeing the process of recovery taking place? And are you fairly confident that the worst is now behind us?
Yes, yes. Sorry, I'm not hearing.
I was just asking you, Chandramohan ji, that we've had a very bad period with the pandemic. How
Yes.
confident are you that the process of recovery will now continue and that the worst is behind us?
See, in my remarks, I already said that during the second phase of COVID, actually our industries were not disturbed actually, and our SOP was made in such a way that no industry was totally closed down. Even for bringing raw materials also, in Assam, actually our no restriction were imposed for that as industry as transport minister actually for special UC provision for bringing raw materials to the industries we have prepared. So that way in Assam, our industries were not so much affected as you are thinking actually. So,
Okay.
and apart from that, I'd like to inform you that during that second wave of COVID pandemic in the country actually suffering from oxygen. And during that time, we have 9 oxygen plants here in Assam. And because of which, when there was a crisis in the country, that time in Assam, we had 500 metric ton of liquid oxygen available in Assam. Apart from that, so our Sun Pharma company established here. So Remdesivir, actually there was a crisis in the country, whole country, Remdesivir in the injection. But during that time, actually, we were exporting Remdesivir injection to the other parts of the country from here. So that way, you see, our industry during second phase of COVID actually maintained very well, and I hope our industry is comfortable here.
Thank you so much, Chandramohan ji. Thank you so much. Thank you. We're glad we got a closing comment from you. Okay, Mr. Ravi, thank you. Thanks, Ravi. Thanks to everyone for being here for this session. Next session starts at 2:20.
Thank you, Vikram. Thanks, everyone.